Welcome to the Scandi Shift, the podcast where two expat moms talk honestly about surviving, thriving, and building a happy life in Denmark. I'm Selena.
And I'm Meg. And today we're talking about raising bilingual kids in Denmark, which sounds very beautiful and international until your child starts correcting your Danish, translating for you, or in general, just saying things you only half understand. And Selena, I think that this is a good one for you to start because your kids were born here. They've been in the Danish daycare, the school systems from the beginning. After Veggie, a lot of internationals normally move into an international school, and you made the conscious decision to keep them in Danish, not a blended track or anything. How did you think about Danish and English for your kids early on? And what was that sort of decision?
Well, I think for us, we made that choice even when my eldest, even when he was like tiny.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we wanted Danish to be their primary language. And we knew we were staying here. I think the hard part for some families is, especially if you arrive on a work contract or as a condiment, there's not necessarily the early sight of, oh, you want to be here or you're allowed to be here. So for us, it was very different. And I arrived here pre-Brexit, had the chance to say I was lucky.
Yeah, you had the golden loophole, which is a really nice one.
Loophole for permanent resident. Yeah, I was extremely... I'll say lucky in inverted brackets because everyone who knows me knows I hate Brexit. Everything it stands for. We don't do politics on here, so I will move on. I hate it. It'd be a pain in my side. But yeah, I had only been living here for about a year before I got pregnant. Yeah, actually. So I was still very much in that early stage of trying to learn Danish myself. And I was actually in the kind of classes where the school comes on site.
Oh, because you were doing it through work.
Yeah, we did it through work. So I was lucky in the sense I didn't have to go out to the school, fly to Rica or whatever. And we need to do an episode on language because I've got some those funny, crazy stories about learning language alongside Finns, Germans, Austrians, Swedes. They definitely learn this at a different pace. Okay, Brits, everyone has no other languages. So yeah, but that's it for another episode. But and I'd started learning for fun when I lived in London still on Duolingo. I think.
Oh, you started early.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, it's such a funny language, like can't pronounce anything, but I'll give it a go.
My mom does Duolingo with Danish too. Yeah, she's been doing it for years. She's actually quite good, but she can't speak.
Yeah, not even I. So we've got that in common.
Mom, I know you're a listener. I'm very proud of your Duolingo. I'm not making fun of you.
Going. But I knew Danish is going to be hard.
Yeah.
This language is tough. Everybody talks about it, right? But then I had a tough pregnancy and Danish lessons just weren't prioritized for obvious reasons. But even though I wasn't progressing myself with the language, I wanted my children to feel integrated, to feel part of society. And by default, I don't think you get that by just being half Danish.
Yeah.
Of course, we have all those heritage roots here too, but it just felt really important, especially for the kids. So I didn't prioritize it for me, but I did prioritize it. We did, I should say.
Yeah.
My husband for the kids from the very beginning. And that's why we chose the Vågestu, the Danish Vågestu, Børnehave, and now starting with Danish school, right?
Yeah, that's really smart. I feel like we're similar now, right? Now, I shouldn't say now. We have been having Danish as a focus for our son. But it was, we started in San Francisco. And so when he was born, I'm like, all right, husband, you speak Danish. And he was really good. From the time our son was born, he would speak Danish to him all the time. The funny thing is actually his Danish started leaving when our son started speaking. I was like, no, this is the time that
you remember you telling me here that you like, dear, we were in Denmark to speak Danish. And I think it's so hard when your language at home has always been English between the two of you.
Yes.
You've been living here, it doesn't necessarily just change the default language, right?
No.
Of course, you can't speak it, or you couldn't when you first came here.
Yeah.
I totally get that. It's very, very tricky, and it's hard for him to remember sometimes. And we've been through that too.
Yeah.
Actually. But English is still a big language at home.
Mm-hmm.
because I have all of my family, all of my friends, and if we didn't have that language, and also I don't speak fluent Danish, so if we didn't have that language, I'm not sure what kind of mother I would end up being. A misunderstood one, that's for sure. They're not happy anyway, but I think that's going to be very heavily emphasized if I'm trying to talk to them only in Danish. Lost in translation, but I love the fact all my parents here, my kids can just switch to English.
Yeah, and then they're comfortable at it.
And my language teacher here, who I love, I will just give a call out to Dance Bureau. I really think that's an amazing school. She told me the biggest gift that I can give to my kids is native English.
Oh.
So you should be speaking in your mother tongue. And if your partner's Danish or whatever other language, they have, they should be speaking in that because that's how kids learn best and fastest.
I love that framing that our English is a gift to them. Because, I mean, they do learn English. I mean, obviously, Danes are very, very good at English in general, but they're not native speakers.
It's not cultural.
It's not cultural. Now,
unless they lived in like the US or another
English-speaking
country.
Then they kind of pick it up. But I am speaking a lot of Danish to our son because I'm trying to blend it in. But I also speak, obviously, a lot of English. And we've now made a new rule where I only will read English books. And my husband only reads the Danish books. But I I feel a little bad for my little one because we fully messed him up like linguistically, like from an early age. So, he's born in the States, obviously surrounded by English, you would think, right? I have his dad speaking Danish to him. So they're like, yeah, get it early. Like, because I read some article about if they don't hear the sounds early, their brain synapses lose that, which is why if you are, for instance, in a language that doesn't have the words or like L, are not able to say L no matter how long you speak that language because your brain synapses have lost that ability, right? So I was, of course, obsessed, as I do get about things. And I'm like, no, speak Danish, speak Danish. I want to make sure I can get all the right things. But we added this complexity to the fact that our nanny was Spanish speaking.
Oh, my God.
So, and she spoke exclusively Spanish to him. And I was like, well, this is a gift of a really well-spoken, useful language. So this will be great. This is great. And his first word was agua, like water in Spanish.
Mama, agua.
No, it was not mama. He did not say mama for a really long time. I'm not going to feel judged by that, but he would say other things. But for a really long time, I started feeling like he was having a language delay. I was like, oh my God, he's not saying these words that like other kids are saying, blah, blah, blah. And we were at a friend's house who are native Spanish speakers. And here he is sort of talking to my friend's wife, da, 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 da. And I go, oh, he's just babbling. Like, yeah, he's just like likes to engage, but he's not really doing anything. And she looks up to me and she goes, he just told me, be careful, that cup doesn't have a lid in Spanish. And I was like, what?
Wow.
So then we were realizing that all of this babbling was actually Spanish. And because neither one of us spoke it, we had no idea.
Oh, yeah. But actually, this, though, I could fully relate to. Not as extreme as speaking a whole other language that we don't speak. That's very impressive. But there have been times, and sometimes there is still times now where I'm like, to my husband, what is he? Is he speaking Danish? And then my husband looks at me and he's like, no. I'm like, oh, in English? And then I'm really questioning myself. And it turns out it's just like that is the gibberish. Yeah, thought. That has actually happened to us a few times where I'm thinking, oh, he's speaking Danish, Danglish, whatever.
Yes.
So then my husband is like, no, that's not. But he's definitely not speaking like Danish.
He's like, that's not what he's doing. That's just gibberish.
That was gibberish.
That's just gibberish. But with that, I was like, all right, he's got a good language sense. Like he's picking things up. It's not having a delay. It's just speaking a language I don't speak. And we moved here. And we've talked about this before, that he just moved over to a Danish Børnehave in January. Yeah. So we were here for a whole year. He was at the French school. And most people were like, why would you send your child to a French school? And it's because he was already in a French school. So poor kid, he's got Danish being spoken to his dad, which, by the way, he, I think for a long time thought it was a secret language just between the two of them because he never heard anyone else like say this language. I'm sorry, Danes, but it's not that prevalent out of Denmark. So he thought that he and his dad had this special secret language, but that also some cartoons knew, right? Like in his mind, it's this like very obscure thing. And we, when he started in, we call it school. You here in Denmark, there's very specific words for like Vegastu and Børnehave and all this stuff.
Because he's still in Birmingham.
He is in Børnehave, and
They made just my daughter.
I think it would have been. He started in what we would call school, nursery school in the States, which we then went to say school. It was 2.5. So that would probably have been beginning of Børnehave, beginning of regular school. I'm not sure, but we say school. So he went to school, a nursery school, and it was French. And I was like, well, we didn't know we were moving to Denmark. There's one Scandinavian school in San Francisco, but they teach all the Nordic languages together. I will not be able to correct him. To be like, no, sweetie, that is Norwegian. I won't know. So that would be even more of a mess up. So we decided on the French school, and he was there. So when we moved here, with everything changing, like new school, new friend, new house, new country, I thought one thing can feel the same. And so we got here, and of course my mom's like, well, it'll be fine. He's in Denmark. He's going to have Danish. He'll pick it up. And what happened? He was not picking it up because his entire world was French. And then he'd come home and his world is a little bit of Danish again, the little secret language that he's now seeing other people also kind of to speak, but he's not engaged in. And it wasn't until we switched him that we saw, and luckily it had all this Danish in his head sitting there. He's now very fluent in Danish. Very quickly. What, this is 3-4 months? He doesn't switch as easily as your kids, but when put into a Danish environment with Danish children, he will speak Danish. But if he knows that kid speaks English, he will speak English to that kid.
But I think that's very natural at the stage he's at right now.
Yeah.
And he's only been here for like 18 months.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Small.
He is small.
Oh, yeah, just done back, right? So yeah, it's gonna take some time, and you shouldn't feel bad about that. I mean, there are so many moments when I think back across the years with these 3 kids, where I've thought, oh, they're just speaking Danish, like, and I kind of ignore it. It's like, what? Like, oh, mommy, blah, 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 blah.
We still have a guest, or my dog is with us. It's Sophie. Selena's barking, and he shoots his head up. He's like, I speak dog Danish. I speak dog Danish.
But that is the Danish equivalent of what we would know as like woof woof. Yeah. That's the dog in America, England, right? So I was like, what? Like, even the dogs speak weird, right? And then for a long time, I remembered my eldest would be like, babu, babu. And that just sounded like gibberish. But then it turns out like my husband is like, that's right, it's an amulet. It's a whatever. And I'm like, no, that's Nina. Like every brain now is like, yep. And ours is, yeah, 90 ways to say need. Like we had, it's the same sort of melody less. Anyway, I have also, like, another funny thing that happened with my daughter is she constantly used to say, kick, kick, kick. And my mom would be like, don't, like, kick grandma, kick grandma. And like, you can't kick grandma. Don't come and kick grandma. I'm like, she's not saying kick. This is like, she's just trying to get you to look at something. But my mom just thought she was like developing violence tendencies at a really young age. But you know, that's how it goes. Sometimes it's Danish, sometimes it's gibberish, sometimes it's Danglish, and then sometimes it's just toddler language, right? You can't always get it.
I feel like this summarizes my language ability here outside of the toddler language. Sometimes it's English, sometimes it's Danish, sometimes it's gibberish. Damn it.
It is.
But then it shifts from these funny little language moments to the everyday reality of parenting in Danish. So here's the big thing. And
trying.
Or at least
trying to
parent in Danish.
I'm not sure how to do that one.
But and I really, they said this a few times to you and to my husband that moving here and just realizing how handicapped I am in this language and that everything is communicated to you in Danish. And of course it is. We're in Denmark, but you kind of don't let that sink in when you're moving here until you're living it every day, where you're like, so Aula, if you live here, and you have kids, Aula is the messaging service that all the schools use. And they send all the messages and everything, and it's all in Danish. And, there's not a way to translate. And even, you're on websites and everything obviously is in Danish and you can't really do an easy translation. But, you're meeting parents and that's in Danish. You're going to all the little things of trying to be a parent and involved here.
Yeah.
And that you need to understand to stay involved. And it's Danish and it's overwhelming. For me, I definitely get a little anxiety because I'm trying to be present and involved. And I'm like getting like anywhere between on a good day, 40% and on a bad day, 0%. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but this is where it's like the practical side really comes in, because once your kids are in a Danish daycare or a school, the language is just something that they are learning, right? And it's not just something, like it's like a whole world opens up with communication that you kind of avoided or being free of. And yeah, it's how the whole system communicates with you. For us, it's definitely been a mix. I mean, one of our daycares is super old school. So that's like posters, emails, and posters. I actually, it's kind of nice. I find it as like, oh, there's a new poster up. Oh, it's the day. Okay, what is this about? And then I have to try and decipher it, because that you just have to figure out. Or I could get Google Translate out, but I'm trying not to look obvious that I don't understand Danish when I'm in there. Most of the time that I manage by on Owler and all of those things. But, if I don't understand something, I do just use Google Translate. And generally the staff at both the daycare and the school, I mean, they will obviously communicate directly to me in English. And I go to some of these bigger events where it becomes really anxiety provoking. And you're like, okay, well, you lost me after hi.
Like, especially if they start speaking over each other. I'm like, one at a time, please.
So it's loud, and maybe you've got like kids talking near you. I need to really concentrate there. Someone's just like as a speaker, because you don't have full context. And they actually remove context, I think, at the stage that we're at, because we're fairly similar.
Yeah.
Like intermediate. I think you're higher than me actually. But I doubt that. It's like I just really need context, and I really need concentration on listening.
I'm right there with you. The last meeting that we had, the first half of the meeting, we're in the two store groupings were together, the two big groups were together. And the guy in front of me had a translator with him. Like we were in a UN meeting, like full on, another guy sitting next to him. And he's translating everything. And I think it might have been...
The refugees actually get this sometimes.
Yeah, where's my refugee translator? I looked at...
Okay, don't talk about politics. I know Trump is out there right now. I'm not sure you count as a one refugee. You might not want to live there. You probably still could, fairly safely.
But I looked at my husband and I said, where is mine? Like, I was like, how did he get a translator? What is going on? But then it was actually hard for me to understand because they were in front of me and all I could hear was like, and I was like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. And then we moved into a smaller group and it was much better. But I'm not gonna lie, I want my translator. I was so
Isn't that your husband? That's son of mine. Like, we go to these things, I go because I want to be a good mom and I want to be present. But then I get 20, 30% or whatever it is.
Yes.
And then afterwards, my husband is like paraphrasing. 1 hour of information usually gets condensed into like 2 sentences to me. And then I'm like, okay, so what about this? What about... I'm like the annoying person that was there but didn't get anything. And then I'm pecking at his head. But we've made that work. At the same time, I try not to give myself a hard time on the hour. It's like, I know I made the right decision generally for the kids. It has just made things harder for me. I could have easily just said, I want them in an international school in an English track where they will learn Danish, but it's not the primary. But, I really love the fact that my kids are so in society and out there, and this is home. I mean, they are half Danish, yeah, well, and even if they're not Danish and they didn't have that, if you know you're going to stay for a long time, it's probably worth the investment in everyone.
Yeah,
everybody, right?
exactly.
To get them there.
I sent my son to a international camp last summer, and it was my first time in a true English mainly speaking international environment. And I thought the camp was great. He had a lot of fun. We would definitely use it again. But it made me realize how happy I was that I didn't send him to a true US, like English speaking international school, because you're right. It would have been so much more comfortable for me. I'd have been like, oh, here I am. But it's a fake bubble. It's a fake bubble.
You would still be learning Danish.
Yes.
And he would have been out of it.
Yes. And, and then I wouldn't have had that draw as much. Like, one of the reasons I'm learning Danish is to be part of the culture and the environment here, but also so that our family is unified. Because I do not like this idea of having secret language that I don't understand. And yeah, so I want to be able to, and I guess I'm never going to be at his level, I'm sure, because he's learning at such a rapid pace. Yeah, there's always going to be a part, and he has the culture part to it as well. But yeah, I want him to be fully immersed. I don't want this bubble for him because we are staying. We are not 2 years and out, 3 years and out. We're here, and I want him to be able to go to any Laya class and walk up to a kid and play.
Yeah,
and not just have to have specific play groups in specific areas, because you're then further, I don't know, ostracized isn't the right word. It's more insulated from what's going on around you.
Yeah. No, I agree. If you choose the Danish option, then you also need to accept you're not going to understand a lot of it at this point, and it will obviously improve over time. And then you need to make sure that you can't just pretend that you caught everything. You have to ask, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's that's how it is learning anything. When you're not immediately good at something, it's horrible.
Yes.
And this will be my biggest challenge for sure.
Yeah.
In anything that I've learned over the years, without a doubt.
I'm going to say I agree. But there is something very humbling about being an educated adult, an accomplished person, and struggling to express yourself and struggling to understand and feeling like, the least fluent or educated person in your child's life.
Yeah. That's just where we are now.
Yeah. But the amazing thing is that the immersion works for us too, right? We pick up words left and right because we're putting ourselves in situations that every day, because we put ourselves in situations. It works for kids. It works for us.
Yeah.
But it almost works too well, because now he's been coming home with new phrases, good ones, which I'm super excited, and some bad ones.
Such as?
So, yeah. So now he comes home and he mimics things that he's heard at school. He reenacts things. He does things, and it's part of the thing. And then a few things that's coming back. One much more worse than the other. But the first was he was saying, "Do piss on my A."
Oh, Ippisamae?
And it's that song.
MDP.
Yes, it's from that song.
I was actually thinking about that as you were talking.
Yeah, and I was like, what is his face? And okay, it might just be me, but I feel like I then watched that song and I felt like it was a little too grown up for him. I mean, he's 5.
Yeah, and MGP has definitely pitched at slightly older kids, because they were at Tivoli, and I think their Tivoli set starts in like 8 p.m. Friday night. So it's definitely not for necessarily our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, what's your favorite MVP song? My daughter's like, oh, legal. And then we sing that, you hear it once and you can't stop singing. And then Sebastian's like, and then, so that was like, we've listened to it so many times, like loudly in the car.
My son's favorite is, oh my God, the one that's like, come to bed, come to bed. Yeah, stop. Yeah. And it's really, so do you know this? To bed, come to bed. Oh, yeah. He sings it around all the time. And did you hear the interview on this? The little girl wrote the song. And they're like, oh, this song is so sad. You're talking about how you missed your friend, blah, blah, blah. Had she moved away? And she'd go on vacation? And she goes, no. She just went to her summer house for the weekend, but I really missed her.
Bloody summer houses. Have a lot to answer for.
I know.
The children away.
I get it. Now, okay, so that one was relatively harmless, although we did say it's kind of a naughty way of saying you're pissing me off. Like, it's not a nice...
It's a strange hit song.
Yeah, it is strange. It feels a little too aggressive.
I think that it's it's the difference in our cultures with kids.
Yeah.
It feels, I feel like Danes are pretty like nonchalant about a lot of swear words that in England I would be like, oh, that's highly offensive. Yeah, to say it like that. But because there are different ways of saying it.
This is a good branch to the second thing he brought home.
Which was?
So it was not said to me. It was said to my husband, and I will preface this, not to him directly. My son was trying it out.
Right.
He was trying out the phrase to kind of see. I think he could tell there was something a little bit naughty about it, and he was sort of feeling it out. So, my husband comes upstairs, and he's been put him to bed, and I'm like, he looks at me, he goes, so somebody came home with something new from school today. And I was like, oh my God, is it a bruise? Is it a scratch? Is it what's happened? Is it a tick? Because he's out in the forest? Like, what is it? He's like, no. He said, holding fucking Kef. And I looked at him.
Yeah, that's a bit more offensive.
And I didn't know what it meant. I just paused and I go, well, I know fucking is not good. I can translate that part. But I was like, holding a Kef? I was like, shut up. And he goes, yeah. And I go, shut the fuck up. And he goes, yeah. And I go, he said what? Yeah. And he said, I was like, to you? And he said, in my vicinity. And I explained to him that we don't say that and it's really bad. And we, then as a family the next morning, we had a conversation about how you can hear some things and you shouldn't repeat them. And there's certain things that, are not okay or are okay. And to your point, Danes definitely use the F word a lot more in general.
Yeah.
In their speech as like just kind of casual that we as English speakers would not use in that way. I would not. I was raised not to ever use that unless you're really mad.
I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I definitely do.
I feel like I ever hear you say the curse words.
I have to try to get it out of my vocabulary. Or maybe I think it a lot.
You're thinking a lot. I definitely got annoyed the other day and I said the F word and I was near my son and I was like, and he kind of just...
I do that a lot where I'm like, oh, fuck. Yes. Like that, I'm sure my husband is listening to this is like, When I like hurt myself or forget something, I say, oh shit a lot.
I will say,
but I never swear at kids.
Oh God, no.
I like to your husband, but in the vicinity, no, and I don't need it in an offensive way to anyone. It's like, damn, should probably just darn it, said that instead.
Darn it.
Oh, anyway,
Daddy's so American just now.
We're digressing now.
I know.
We're digressing. So let's.
Yeah, so the whole point is that
immersion works.
The immersion
fully say that, people. The
immersion works for children.
Yeah, and it certainly has for yours. And the one thing I love to say is like, it's so... I feel like school raised the bar a lot more on that. So, they were in Birmingham, they were like, Lordy. Like, Lord was that. That's so you says, just advances because they're around bigger kids. I'm pretty chill about it, to be honest. Yeah, I don't feel he's not doing it around us. I definitely can overhear him sometimes, but I remember a little bit different at school. You're like, kind of a cool fit in. So I'm just leaving into it and hoping that he eventually realizes that he doesn't sound great to talk about that, And if I ever hear him, I always say, maybe don't talk like that. It doesn't sound very nice.
But I think, it's good that you can hear it and you can recognize it. But do you ever, I get the feeling that you're kind of experiencing something that is outside what you can manage, that like they have a secret language that you're not part of?
Yes, I still get this feeling of being on the outside sometimes. And I don't know if it's daily, maybe, but like that's really small things. I didn't quite catch something. I also when you don't understand the language and your kids are speaking in it to each other, to their father, you kind of do zone out. And I think that might be like a preservation for tiredness, because I find it is tiring to try to understand it all the time.
Yeah.
So it almost becomes like background noise. Like
It's your white noise. It's the calming light noise.
quite awful. It sounds like I'm not trying to be interested in my kids, but I know if they want my attention, they will switch to English. They will have a conversation. And I know sometimes they can't get the words in English. They're very good in English, but Danish is definitely mother tongue. Yeah, so sometimes I would get really annoyed that they can't say something. So I think I'm getting used to it. I've got so many of them now, even the little ones talking more. So I'm fine with it. One thing, and this is a little sad, I think, but just to admit it, is when I ask the kids about their day, and it's the classic, I don't remember. And they even sometimes say like, yeah, the day. And because they can't remember and they don't know. And I get nothing.
Yeah.
And then the dad comes home and he asks the same question, and then he gets like this full recount of their day.
Because everything triggered on Danish.
Yeah, it's that can be a bit hurtful.
Yeah.
I'm there with them for many hours, and I'm like, it's all for me. But aside from that, I mean, often now, my eldest especially is, and actually my two eldest kids, that is happening less and less. When I ask about the day now, I feel like they are getting more excited to tell me, and I can really feel that the English is lifting too.
Oh, that's really good.
We have sustained it at home alongside Danish. So yeah, I feel like that's a really nice feeling for me now too. And my Danish is improving enough to like get some of what they're saying by talking to their dad too.
Yeah, I think, and there's kind of pride to that though, because you're proud of them for being so multilingual, even though it feels a little sad to be left out.
Yeah, and I'm Danish is so natural for them, and this is kind of what we did. This was a parenting decision that we took.
Yeah,
way back when we didn't even have 3 kids, right? We had 1, and now it's paying off. And I'm also still learning Danish in my own way. And I'm fine about it. And their English, my parents were just here for 8 days. Yeah. And we said to them, can you try to remember to speak in English, especially when we're like at the dinner table and all sitting together? And, once or twice in those 8 days, they spent so much time with my parents. And it was all English. That was good. The vast majority of the time. And they don't falter.
Yeah.
So they can do it.
Yeah, I think once they're more comfortable in both, it's easier to code switch, so to speak. Yeah. But I see that with my son. He's trying to explain things. And what gets him frustrated is when he doesn't have the word in English. Like he has the word in Danish now.
Yes, that's the same.
A shocker for me, where he's like, mama, English, and the Danish word. And then, or he'll ask me something, what does that mean? And I'm like, I don't know. Ask your father. It also is a little bit of him, speaking it. He's quite doesn't know the word either. So he's sort of saying it incorrectly or a little bit. Yeah, but it's on him. He's a 5. I can't be like, your Danish is not perfect.
No, yeah, of course not.
But I did have my dad the other day that because I'm like, oh, look, his Danish is becoming so fluent. My husband said to me, I know, it's so cute he speaks Danish with an English accent. I was like, you what? This whole time I thought he was speaking this adorable Danish. And I was like, does he have an English-American accent? And he goes, yeah, he speaks Danish with an American accent. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah, you didn't notice. And I'm like,
it will disappear.
I know.
All the time that will. And maybe that's sad, actually, Like I can always hear when a Dane, when they're speaking English, I can hear immediately that they have either heritage or some connection to an English-speaking country, and especially if it's England, you can just hear it immediately in the English, because there is a very Danish accent. Specifically, if they haven't lived out of the country, it's heavily accented with the Danish, right? But when they have, or they've been raised bilingual, it immediately comes through on the English. So I'm not surprised I can hear that. Yeah, but it's funny that you can't. But now can you hear it now he said it?
No, my Danish isn't good enough to understand that he's speaking it with an American accent, because that's also how I speak Danish. So for me, it sounds normal. But to your point, my neighbor next door, his dad is American. And he was speaking to me when I first came and we were like first moved and we were meeting our neighbors and stuff like that. He's speaking to me with a perfect American accent. I thought he was American. And so I said, "Oh, how long have you been living here?" And he's like, "Oh, my whole life. I grew up here." I was like, "What?" And I go, "How is your English so American? And not only just American, but like East Coast American." Like I could hear it was the up Atlantic Pacific, my area of the States, or my childhood area of the States. And he said, "Oh, my dad's from New York," and he wanted to make sure that I was always speaking well in the right accent. And I was like, for him, New York accent, and he's like, "Yeah,
Of course.
of course." So that's what he has, but it throws me off. It really does throw me off. To your point, when you hear that, you're like, "Oh, wait, are you really fully Danish? Like, what? How did that happen?"
Yeah.
So we'll bring it back because I think in reality, what we're talking about is this bilingual household family that we envision when we thought about our kids, when we moved here for us, was this effortless flow of, oh, here, and like some beautiful thing that you imagine. And the reality is like weird, stunted things that like we don't understand. We're not part of. Our kids are fluently moving or getting there here and there and the other. And so the dream is just a different version of that. But I'm super excited to be part of it. It's still, and it does encourage me to be like, let's speak more. But it's important for us to still remember that as English speaking people here, our biggest gift, to your teacher's point, is making sure our kids get our mother tongue and the cultural aspects of that.
Yeah, I mean, bilingual kids is definitely not as neat as it sounds, but it is very funny, occasionally humiliating, depending on what they're saying. I did, just as a final closing thing here, I forgot to mention that when the kids are speaking English, my husband lived in the States, and his English is very heavily American accented, right? So this was like the battle of the English. And he would be trying to teach them to wind me up. It's no, it's water. I'm like, it absolutely is not. I am not American. I am British. And it's like, I don't care about these things, but it was just because I was like, it's the only thing I has. Don't take Spanish. Don't take this away from me. And so, of course, we've really stuck with the British English. Yes, I do. They all sound different when they speak English. All of them are accented. Yeah, I don't think my kids are ever going to sound like me, but I think it's weird to raise them in Denmark with a British mom, and then they're like, water. And I'm like, can I have some water? It's like, so so that we got that little battle and a bit of a joke along the way, but yeah.
I don't think I could say water in the British. Water. Water.
Water.
Water.
Yeah, that's the thing you were talking about at the beginning where the receptor just is like, what?
You're like, your water is always going to be water.
But it's not going to be perfect.
No.
And it's not even balanced half the time. It's a lot of Danish now. But that's what I wished for. I just need to catch up. And we have a lot of Danglish in the house, but predominantly Danish. And it is good for me because I'm still learning myself. And that's kind of where we are. I'm just accepting of we made a choice. Yeah. It is paying off. For better or worse, for my personal journey here, it is paying off. And I'm sure in the end, we will all get to a place where at some point in the house, it's fine for it to be Danish, but it's absolutely fine that we switch to English. And when we have visitors, they can do what they're doing now. So
yeah.
Even if I'm speaking more Danish.
I think that I probably land around the same thing, right? Like some days it feels amazing. It feels amazing to see my son blossoming, being part of this community, being part of this culture.
Yeah.
And it feels a little chaotic for me when I'm like, oh crap, he's coming back with all this vocabulary, good and bad, that I don't know. But, just standing there while your child corrects you can be a bit humiliating, but also very pride-inducing.
Yeah.
Right? Of like, you're really good at this. But I'd love to hear how other families are handling this, right? Like if you're raising a bilingual kid here in Denmark or somewhere else, what has surprised you? What's been difficult? What's been hard? What's been funny? Maybe something more emotional than you expected. So write to us on the Scandi Shift at gmail.com or DM us on Instagram.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. I think the thing we're trying to really get this out there and hopefully, help any other parents that are currently going through the bilingual challenge of living in Denmark.
Yes. Talk for a day.
Tack for a day.